Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 253rd episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We are powered by ATEBIT.net and those sexy legends over at Audio Technica. I am your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan 8-Bit. And joining me today, the Ratcatcher 2 to my Captain Boomerang, the podcast Ride or Die to myself. You can find her on them socials at Miss Ellie Hart. Miss Ellie Hart, how the bloody hell are you?
I'm doing good on this bloody hot Friday afternoon in the States. It's disgusting. I see you wearing a hoodie, which makes things worse.
It's fantastic weather over here right now. Like we are peak winter here in the Sunshine State, and I'll just give you the live weather report. Let me just consult my cellular phone here.
Okay.
It is a nice 15 degrees at 8:51 in the AM right now.
It's a rough 85 Fahrenheit, so I think that's like 30 something. I think
it's hot. Short version is hot, but no, it's nice. It's a bit foggy. It's a bit overcast today. We're going to get a bit more rain, so it's going to be nice, comfy hoodie weather all day, which I'm loving.
Sounds nice. Jealous.
Yeah, I feel you because I don't like the heat. Do not like it one bit, so I feel you.
Yeah, actually really like summer. I like the heat. I like going out in the sun and having drinks, and I really enjoy that vibe. But I guess kind of when you're in home recording a podcast with all the windows closed and my
not
tomb
ideal.
of darkness, not necessarily a great temperature.
No, we need to get like the inverse of those little hand warmers and stuff like that. Get you like some like ice gloves or those little ice packets.
Just throw some esky ice packs on me.
That's it. Just put your feet in an open esky and away you go. But we're here. We're back. Episode 253 of THG. We've got a nice assortment of gaming and geek culture related news and opinions and rumors to throw at you today. But maybe we could start off, instead of, we'll jump into what we've been playing in a sec, but maybe we could start off with sort of what I alluded to in that opener. And yourself and myself have both been fortunate enough to go watch Suicide Squad, or to watch Suicide Squad. You were fortunate to watch it at home in the comfort of your lounge room. I went to the cinemas. The lockdown lifted last Sunday at 4 p.m. in Queensland, and I was at the cinemas at 4:30 with my popcorn in hand watching Suicide Squad. So I was a very happy boy.
Oh, good. I was actually genuinely surprised when you sent me a message like that you enjoyed it. And I'm like, oh, shit, he actually got to see it. Because I know you were kind of like, maybe not. So, yeah, loved it. I'm so happy. It was good.
Yeah, I was quite the fan from the opening right through to the end credits and the stinger at the end. It was just a hell of a roller coaster ride. Like it did not really let up the whole time. It had a pretty frenetic pace, and a lot of things were happening. A lot of people were dying. There's a lot of violence. Like it was. It's funny because some of the characters obviously return from the first iteration of Suicide Squad. They come back and assume the roles that they played in the first attempt at this movie, but it is night and day. It is night and day as far as the tone, the themes, the violence, the swearing, the gore, and then just the general mood of the movie. Like it's a lot more lighthearted compared to. Like they tried to make the first one a lot more dramatic. I felt like a lot more dreary and sort of straight shooting.
Yeah, I could see. Well, the problem with the first one was that there was a tone, an overall tone that was set initially, but then Dave Ayer, is that his name, the director?
David
Ayer. He obviously, the studio got involved and then they changed everything up for him. So I think it was actually going to be just straight out like dark action kind of, movie. But then they added all the weird, funny slapstick kind of moments, and then the tone was just all over the place. And everyone really didn't like the first movie. I'm okay with it. Not a masterpiece, but it's fine watching for an action film. But this one, oh my gosh, beats it in spades. And how Gunn does it? How is he able to just take something and just absolutely nail it?
James
It's
Gunn.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, he is a very talented person in the film industry. Like he wrote and directed this, and you can see his DNA all through this. Obviously, the closest comparison, especially if we look on the other side of the comic fence, is it takes some of, I guess, its comedic licks from the writing styles of like Guardians and stuff like that. But obviously, instead of an M rating, we get an R rating or an MA rating. I think I can't remember if it's MA over here in Australia, but obviously that falls into the R bucket in the US. But they certainly push the boundaries as far as comic book related hyper violence and gore. Like, this is some stuff you don't really see in these worlds, and it felt right at home though, as far as the tone and who the Suicide Squad are and what they stand for, and just how it's written in the comics.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of this stuff is just ripped directly from the pages, as far as the interactions and some of the kill scenes and whatnot. It was awesome to see. And I loved this movie from start to the finish. And I'm hoping we get more. Obviously, we've got the Peacemaker HBO Max TV series coming out. So John Cena's going to be putting on his toilet seat of justice one more time and going to the small screen.
Oh my gosh. Like, I have to give it to John Cena. Like, I never really cared for him as a person or a wrestler. I didn't like him as a wrestler. To me, he was like Superman. Like, couldn't do no wrong, always wins, that kind of thing. But I was just so impressed with him in this movie. He just molded in well to his character and just into like the caliber of acting with everyone surrounding him, and he did an incredible job. I am absolutely actually pretty blown away by him being in this movie. Yeah,
like I think you nailed it. Like, in the WWE, he was their Superman. Like, I think that's perfectly described. And he was sort of pigeonholed into that box, and he couldn't really get out of that. But now he's in Hollywood, and there's always he's following in The Rock's footsteps and rah all that kind of stuff. But the fact that he's taking these varied roles where he can be a little edgy and funny and crass and violent, and it just shows that he's got this sort of depth to his acting delivery is really good to see. And he was phenomenal as Peacemaker, and his back and forths with old Robert Dubois or Bloodsport or Idris Elba was really, really great. Like, the casting for every character, big or small, in this movie, I think was like bang on the money. Perfectly casted.
Yeah, I agree. And I gotta be honest, I completely forgot who voiced King Shark.
Yeah, Sly Stallone, baby.
Yes, and then I was like, oh yeah, that totally was like his voice, wasn't it? And obviously, it was right for the character and his mental capacity, I guess.
Oh my god, I gotta say, King Shark is just about the MVP of this movie. Like, I adored him.
Isn't he the cutest?
I loved him. I wanted to cuddle him all the time because he was just this misunderstood shark god on Earth. Just trying to live his life and be friends and just eat people, because that's what sharks do. But he was just so great, and he's the next great animal character, you could say, or like non-humanoid character. Like everyone froths about like Baby Yoda and Baby Groot and stuff like that. I think King Shark is up there at the top of the pops with those types of characters. And yeah, I forgot that Sly voiced him as well, but he did it perfectly. Like, he was King Shark, and I loved it, and I lived for it, and I'd watch a show just of King Shark on his own, just living life and getting into crazy situations, and he's just a beautiful character. I love it.
I didn't think that I was going to love a voice as much as Ron Funches, who plays King Shark in the Harley Quinn animated series, but it works. So now there's like 2 variations that I adore.
Yeah, it's so great. It is so great. And I'm happy they settled on the great white shark sort of styling, because I know that they were looking to try and do the hammerhead shark design, which they did in like the new 52 assortment of comics and stuff. But I like they went with the great white shark style, and I like that he had a bit of a dad bod too, the old king shark. Like he was just a big chunky boy.
Did you see he constantly had to pull up his pants? Like he always had issues with his pants falling down.
I'm like, I feel you there, King Shark. I love you.
Yeah, that's sweet.
But it's awesome. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, I think this was her best portrayal as Harley Quinn so far. I like that we got a bit of a different side to her where, you know, like she had some comedic licks and you still see some of the whimsicalness of her and the quirkiness, but she was also kicking a lot of ass. I actually like that it wasn't the Harley Quinn show. Like she wasn't front center main character. Let's follow her around all the damn time. So I actually appreciate that, like, Gunn actually focused on these other characters, and like I think everyone got the right amount of time that they needed. And that's the other thing that I appreciate with especially comic book movies. It's always been my biggest gripe, where directors don't want to take characters out of reality so much, so we never really see traditional like suits or outfits, no matter how outlandish the character is, like Polka Dot Man. He is so good. Abner Creel. Oh my god, yeah, David Dastmalchian, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
So yeah,
he was so great as Polka Dot Man.
And the thing that they did that I really appreciate, it was like, hey, what are you about? This is me. Okay, fine. And then they just move on. Like there's something about when in a comic book movie, when we really focus, like when characters really want to get to know why a person's weird, where it kind of detaches out of the comic book reality where there are a lot of weird people. So they don't care. They've met very weird people all their life, so they wouldn't dwell on it. And I do really appreciate that that's what they did in this movie. They didn't dwell on people's stories. They didn't need much like kind of in the background. Apart from, I guess, no, I think everything was good. We did the right amount of focusing on everyone. So I do really appreciate that angle.
Yeah, they certainly lent into the craziness in the comics, and showing these characters like Weasel and stuff, where you know he is an anthropomorphic weasel humanoid creature, and it's great. Not going to say anything more about it than that, but like all the characters are good. Nathan Fillion as TDK, the detachable kid. Everyone knows us, listen to this show. Big fans of Nathan Fillion here, and would watch him in anything. And for the time he had on screen was great, and he fully embraced this character. And it's so ridiculous, but it just fitted the tone so perfectly as far as this, Task Force X and what they can do or can't do, and all their weird ass abilities or lack thereof abilities. And I loved it. I liked that they allowed Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag to flesh that character out a little bit more and have a little bit more variety in who he was as a person on screen. He was very straight-laced in the first Suicide Squad movie.
I not hated him, but I really didn't care for his character in the first one. And then in this one, I absolutely adored him again. Like, I really genuinely cared about him as a character.
Yeah, he was great, and he was a good foil to Peacemaker, and obviously the interactions with Bloodsport, because they were ex Special Forces members together and stuff. So I liked that there was a bit of camaraderie there. Yeah, Daniela Melchior, I think you pronounce her surname, who played Ratcatcher 2. She was an underrated little MVP in this show. I thought she was great, and she added a lot of heart to the show, to the film and the team as well. And she slotted in nicely, same as Polka Dot Man. Viola Davis playing Amanda Waller, returning to play the same role. She just nails that role. She's just a big, strong, hard bitch of a woman that's dedicated to save the world at no matter the cost.
No matter the
she
cost.
owns it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that like this is like there's a lot of mentions in this movie where like a lot of really like fucked up stuff like and that's the way it should be. Like this is an R-rated movie. The context of like especially the comics and everything, like these are the worst people of the worst. Like one of the backstories of the Weasel is that he ate kids.
Yeah. 27, I can't remember if it's 27 or 37, something like that.
He killed 27 kids or something like that.
Yeah.
And like, if in any other movie, that'd be like, hey, that's really fucked up. But it's kind of brushed away. It's like, no, he killed this many kids.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa. Like,
yeah.
These are bad people.
Yeah, they're bad people trying to take down worse people to save the world. And
yeah,
it's a great concept, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of situation.
Exactly,
and yeah, Amanda Waller has to do whatever it takes to keep the world safe. And I get it. And yeah, I loved it. Loved all the characters. Loved the comedic moments in this game. In this movie. Loved the really violent set pieces that played out. Loved the ultimate, like the big bad in it. Like I think that anyone's seen the trailer, you see that old Starro is one of the baddies in this film, and I think anyone that pitched Starro the Conqueror as the main foil to the in air quotes anti-heroes was crazy. A giant alien starfish as the big baddie in this, but it works and it works well, and I love it.
It doesn't odd you out. It's not that weird. Everything happens and it's not that weird. It's great. That's how comic book movies should be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So nice.
But loved it. Loved that, yeah, the characters that are on the screen played by these actors, they embody these characters 110%. Like, there can never be probably another Harley Quinn. Like, Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. I've, like, fully committed to that. I know Hayley Kiyoko does great in the voice stylings for the animated show, but as far as the real life embodiment on screen, Margot Robbie is Dr. Harley Quinn, and she destroys it on the screen in this movie. But overall, like every part of this movie just slots in perfectly, I think, to make something great.
There was one little tangent I was kind of like, could have taken a leave and left that. But I think it was for a small amount of character development. But apart from that, everything went really, really well and just slotted in perfectly. It was great from start to finish.
Yeah, and it's cool to know that Warner Brothers have the ultimate trust in James Gunn. Like when they gave him the keys to this, they said, you can kill off whoever you like. No one is untouchable. So he could have, I'm not going to say who lives and dies in this movie, but knowing that he's got that kind of trust from DC and WB is great. So hopefully this movie's going to make a lot of money, and, it's getting a lot more better reviews than the first iteration of the Suicide Squad that we saw on the screen a few years ago. But I'm hoping we see more James Gunn helming the Suicide Squad moving forward. Like they've just said, like how he's Mr. Guardians, maybe he can now be Mr. Suicide Squad on the other side and just keep churning these movies out.
Well, my takeaway from this is the more positive of like Warner saying like, hang on, maybe we don't need to focus on the heroes. So now that we have this wonderful baseline of Suicide Squad, maybe we'll start seeing spawning off of the bad guys. Let's follow the story of the bad guys. So my fingers are crossed that we're going to start heading in that direction, because that's all I would love
that, because there's so many great characters, so many weird, quirky, twisted characters that could just be perfect on screen, whether it be film or their own little, go the Disney Plus route and have little 6-episode arcs on these characters and stuff that you could watch, and I'd be all for it. And I just love Idris Elba. He leans into amazing. Everything he does. He like, we were talking about our crushes on 250, and I feel so dumb for not mentioning Idris Elba, because I love that man so much.
Man touches anything, it turns to gold.
Yes. And he just leans into everything with 110%.
Yeah. Doesn't he have a foot fetish?
He could. I wouldn't care. He could even fetish my feet if he likes. I really don't mind. But Yeah, the short version, I think, is that Suicide Squad, I think we can say it's probably officially 8-bit approved. We both give it the positive rub and highly recommend going and watching it. If you can get out to the cinemas, do so. Do it safely, distance, mask, all that stuff, because it is 2 hours of just balls to the wall, fun and insanity and comedy and gore and heart, and it is a popcorn movie, but it's so much more than that as well. And I adored my time watching this, and maybe I'll go watch it again this weekend. Maybe I feel like going back.
Kind of want to see it now with that 4D experience that we have over here, where the chairs move and they spray water in your face and the chair punches you. Like, I'm thinking
we don't really get that here. It's sad.
It's a shame. Like, it was stupid, like, when I went and saw Birds of Prey with it, but then I'm like, this might be a good movie for that.
Yeah. I'm just still jealous that you can watch it in the lounge room. Sadly, you don't have that. It was
great. I got to eat pizza. I got to pause to use the bathroom. It was great.
Yeah, very jealous. Very jealous. And there was a couple that sat just out of eye shot from me in the cinema that talked the whole fucking time.
Oh my God.
I wanted to punch them in the face.
Who does that? Like, you literally
I said
just
something
got
to
out
them,
of...
and they were quiet for a bit, then they were talking again, then someone else said something to them, and they were quiet for a bit, and then I sort of was just periodically turn around giving them the stare, and they'd be quiet for a bit, but they just these early adult, late teen fucksticks that were just carrying on, and it was so annoying. Like, I could just hear them faintly just out of my main sort of area, and it was just in the quieter scenes, it was fucking killing me.
That's how, like, elitist me and my husband are, is that we will purposely spend more money on a ticket if it means that we can exclude some of the riffraff to enjoy our experience. That's a smart idea,
you know. I never thought of it that way, but now I need to.
Yeah. But, like,
maybe I'll gold class myself.
Yeah, people aren't going to, like, talk through a ticket that they spent $40 on. Like, you know, go for it.
It was so frustrating. But yeah, go watch this movie. 8-bit approved. So great. So excited for the future. Love what James Gunn does. He's very talented in the film game. And I think they've found their poster child for the DC movies and this universe moving forward. If James Gunn can happily straddle both sides of this fence and not upset the Marvel boys or the DC boys and just able to walk both paths at the same time, I think it's going to be best for everybody.
I think so too.
God, it's so good, Miss Hart. I loved it. And I just want to cuddle King Shark.
So happy.
I'm so happy too. It's one of my favorite movies I've seen this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been rough for DC. We've had a rough time.
Yeah.
Animated wise, not so much, but
we still don't have the second season of Harley Quinn available to stream locally here.
Really?
Yeah, I need to, like, hate saying it, but I need to find a copy another way. That's what it's getting to, because it's like a year and a half, I think, since season 2 came out.
Yeah, I feel like I watched it last year. I feel like.
Yeah, still nothing. But something else I watched, I won't dive anywhere deep as we did on Suicide Squad, but I watched Gunpowder Milkshake last night, which just came out here in Australia.
Oh, how is that? It's weird. It looks weird.
I didn't mind it. Like, picture, like, it's going to be a lazy comp, but picture John Wick, but replace Keanu Reeves with Karen Gillan and Lena Headey and another assortment of very powerful women. So it's the feet, like, similar tone, like there's a lot of, you know, Karen Gillan and Lena Headey, they're assassins, they kill people for money, you know, follow that same type of beat that John Wick does, but there's a storyline change where instead of, I guess, the car getting destroyed or the dog getting killed, a young girl's been kidnapped and they save this girl, and then hijinks ensue because this group of people are now after them because they botched a job, and a lot of creative ways of killing. There's some comedy in there. There's some drama. There's a lot of violence, a lot of cool choreographed fight scenes, a lot of cool creative ways to kill people. It's good fun. Like, it's, I think it was about 90 minutes. I don't think it was 2 hours. Maybe it was somewhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours, let's say. And it's just a roller coaster. Like, it's that same sort of constant moving forward, cracking pace that you used to with John Wick or Nobody, if you watch Nobody yet, which was so good. But it was fun, and the cast was great. the artistic styling on it was really cool. It sort of lent into this synthy neon mixed with also like the what would I say, like the diner culture from like, picture like almost like Happy Days sort of vibes.
Like, okay, yeah.
Like diners and bowling alleys and some of that sort of like design choices for costumes for characters. So picture that, then with smatterings of neon and stuff in there as well. Like, it's really pretty. Soundtrack is really cool. The cast is great. We get a bit of Paul Giamatti doing Paul Giamatti stuff as well. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was just a good thrill ride. Kept on really well. Characters are great. I really like Karen Gillan. She's a great actress, and she's really good in these sort of action-oriented roles. Like, she's just an ass kicker, and she kicks a lot of ass in this in a lot of creative ways. And it was just fun. I know it's been out for a month or so in the US, but it only just dropped last night or the night before here in Australia.
Yeah.
You have to do the rent or own via Apple TV is how I did it. But really good. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, another cool popcorn film. If you like that sort of John Wick styling of a movie, you'll enjoy this.
It looks like Kill Bill, like kind of like a ode to Kill Bill and the action female star kind of thing.
That's a good comp as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It definitely wasn't on my radar. When I saw the trailer, I was kind of like, it's not hitting me right. So
it's a very good looking movie. Some of the locations and the scenes where this thing's shot, it's really, really cool. And then you see some of these other contrasts. Like, I'm always horny for a bit of synthwave and a bit of neon, and so it just sort of hits those emotional benchmarks for me. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good fun. I'm starved with new movies on Apple TV, so saw that pop come out, and I'm like, yep, let's do it. Let's go. And I also want to just briefly touch on this as well. I'm extremely late to this party, but I've finally started watching Food Wars on first on Anime Lab, then I jumped across to Crunchyroll so I could watch season 3 and beyond. And oh my god, is this an anime that was made for me? Yeah, maybe it was, because crazy dramatic kitchen fight scenes, Iron Chef homages, and quirky characters, and comedy, and heart, and the love for the food that these people have mirrors my love for when I eat something nice. Like, I feel like I want to be in this world and like have some of these reactions eating some of these special concoctions and dishes, and I'm all for this show. There's 2 seasons on Netflix if you're interested. It is the sub version, so that's been, I don't want to say a challenge, but it's sub, so I've had to pay more attention.
Yeah,
and I have to pay like complete attention, because you've got to be reading the screen the entirety of the time to not miss anything. So my usual anime fare where I can be doing some work or trying to do something else at the same time can't happen. So I've been solely focused on what's happening on the screen, and I am all about it. I love it. I've binged nearly 4 seasons since Sunday, so I have just been slapping this show to high hell, and I'm going to be sad for when I finish the 5th season, because that's it. There's no more after that 5th season, so it's going to be bittersweet, but Food Wars might be one of my new favorite animes. I adore it so much.
Oh, I watched 1 episode of it, and didn't catch me. Like, the idea was good. The food looks delicious, but the whole like orgasmic eating experience is a bit much, even for me.
See, I thought you'd lean into it, because like there's no full nudity, but like there's a lot of implied or covered nudity. Like the males and the females bite into some of these dishes, and that good is like, and the clothes blow up, like explode off them, and it's piss funny, some of the scenarios, but oh my god, I love this show so much.
I can see and not blame why it got recommended to me, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it certainly falls into the Senran Kagura bucket, that's for sure.
My Bon Appetit, yeah. It's identical.
Yeah. I actually started watching a bit of Senran Kagura on Anime Lab a few weeks ago.
I like it.
Yeah, I'll go back. I'm like, yeah, this is okay. But it just didn't hit what I was looking for at the time.
It's not a masterpiece, but I always enjoy when it's like, competing schools and people have their special abilities. I always like that kind of like little niche.
Yeah. As far as what we've been playing, because we are well into the episode runtime at the moment, and we still haven't talked about what we've been playing. So luckily the news slate this week is sort of more so quick hitters. But I just wanted to quickly touch on 2 games that I've started this week. The first is the Ascent. Yeah. Which is the new game that's just come out this past week, done by Neon Giant. I've been playing this on the Xbox Series X. It's available on Game Pass, which is phenomenal. And I am such a fan of this game. It's a action RPG set in a cyberpunk world, where you are a lowly employee of a company called the Ascent Group, who pretty much they owned everything. They were you could say they were Amazon. You could say, evil cyberpunk Jeff Bezos owns the Ascent Group. This company has since collapsed, and now there's more anarchy and chaos and whatnot. So you're sort of almost like a contractor for some of these cyberpunk clans, and you're off, fighting creatures and fighting baddies, running missions, doing all this kind of stuff. Picture Diablo. Yes. With that twin stick combat style. So it's that isometric top-down view with twin stick combat. Obviously, weapon gunplay is the primary flavor of this game. But the one thing I really, really like about this game, outside of this awesome cyberpunk neon-dripped world, is there's so many cutscenes in this game. Like when you're meeting characters, it's not just a little face pops up with a lot of text. You're actually getting rendered cutscenes of your character who changes depending on what armor and items you've got. So it changes in real time depending on how your character's kitted out. But you're meeting so many other crazy enhanced individuals and aliens and all this. And it's really, really fucking pretty. These cutscenes are awesome. I haven't been able to play any of the co-op yet. Hopefully I'll be able to line up some gameplay over the weekend with some peeps, because you can play up with you and up to 3 friends. Mm-hmm. So you can have a squad of 4 rolling around a la Diablo. And yeah, it's so fun, Miss Hardy. Are you keen to play some Ascent?
I actually played with my husband.
Well, there you go.
He was really keen on this game. For me personally, the environment is extremely detailed and absolutely stunning, actually, considering like the amount of detail in everything that's going on around you. It's incredible, but the problem is that there is like the way the camera is faced up, not directly above, like kind of at an angle. Your character amongst all this detail is just so small and minimal, and especially playing co-op when you've now got 2 characters on there where you're trying to identify which one is you, it really gave me like a headache. Like your character really does get lost amongst all that. I did actually get some kind of like headache based on my vision, and granted my vision is getting bad as the age goes on. So I guess I can't really discredit the game that much, but for me personally, there was a lot going on the screen, and it was really hard to focus, which is a shame because it was actually really, really pretty.
That is a valid criticism. Like there is a lot going on the screen at any one time, whether it be enemies coming at you, things moving in the background, in the foreground from the environment, random NPCs. Like they do fill this environment and this world with a lot of characters. And yeah, it can be a lot. So yeah, I guess that would be dialed up a bit more when you've got extra squad mates with you, and it might get a bit too busy. But it's good fun. I've been enjoying it. The difficulty curve on it can be a bit tough. Like when I was playing solo, when you're picking up some side quests, rolling into some of these areas, you can get clocked very quickly if you're not careful. So some of these enemies do some big damage to you, but it's cool. Like it leans into the cyberpunk augmentations where you can have abilities, and see you find certain guns that are more powerful, and handle enemies differently, and the enemy archetypes are varied, and
different armor
even just
sets.
the crouch button in this game where you do shoot from cover, like you have to utilize that, otherwise you can get chopped up very quickly.
Yeah, the angled aim that they incorporated into the thing due to like platforming or like, you know, levels, that frustrated me. That actually really frustrated me, unfortunately.
Yeah, because then you got to not only be mindful of pressing B to crouch, but then also then hold in L2 on an Xbox controller to be able to shoot over and up to up the verticalities. And like, it's a good wrinkle, but yeah, it took me a little while to re-wrap my brain to think that I needed to then worry about that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, it's good fun. I think this might be my first Neon Giant experience, and I'm keen to push through more, but I put that down midweek because Boyfriend Dungeon also dropped on many a platform. I've started playing this on the Xbox Series X as well because lo and behold, it is also on Game Pass. If you do not have an Xbox, I think it's around $30. Thereabouts Australian on Switch, on PlayStation, on Steam. So you can get your hands on Boyfriend Dungeon. It's a fantastic little ditty by Kit Fox Games. It was originally crowdfunded on Kickstarter in 2018. So it's been in the works for 3 years. And yeah, it's fun. It's a dungeon crawler, but mixing in the weapons you use, like they're all melee sword-based weapons or sharp-edged based weapons. They're actually real characters. So these are males and females and non-binary characters that are weapons that you take into these dungeons, which they call Dunj, D-U-N-J, in the game. I don't know why they shorten it. I guess it's just some cool wordplay or something. But you go into these dungeons and they're procedurally generated and you kill a ton of enemies with your male, female, non-binary bladed weapon, and then you go on dates with them. So it's like a dating sim mixed with a dungeon crawler. And it is so fucking great, Miss Hart. I love this game. I can't stop playing it.
So I didn't really know much about it. A lot of people just said, hey, you might like this game, but didn't really sell me on it. But now that you've told me you date your weapons.
Yes.
Now I'm on board. I always love a dating game with some weird, like, little twist into it. Like, so the idea of dating your weapon now piques my interest.
Yeah, it's so there's 7 different weapons in the game, or you could say, I guess, 7 different romance options, and they're all different personalities. A lot of them do fall into certain archetypes and tropes, but they're great. They do a mixture of voice acting, and then you get a little bit of text on the screen as well, just because there's so much interaction. Yeah. You interact with these characters not only when you take them on proper dates, but you can also, you've got your mobile phone, so there's a lot of text messaging interaction where you can choose how to respond. And the way this is written, like Kit Fox have nailed the tone and the writing and the text style, because some of the messages you get, I'm like, I've received messages like this. I've responded to messages like this. Like some of the options, I'm like, this is my life. And even like you get a lot of back and forth with your mother in the thing as well. And this mum character texts exactly like my mum does to me. It is ridiculous. So I've been like cackling at times because I'm like, it's Mama Loz texting me in the game right now about my dating life.
I actually did see something about the mum character, and that the developers were actually quite aware that not everyone's relationship with their parents is positive. So they actually give you the option to actually disable communication from your mother. They say your mum is supportive in the game, but they still said, like, you know, if you don't want that kind of, character in your gameplay, then you can turn it off.
Yep, and that happens right from when you boot the game up. So yeah, very considerate on Kit Fox's behalf, where you've got that option 30 seconds into the game to turn that off. If your home situation isn't something that you'd like bandied on the screen all the time. So luckily, like, I love my mum and we got a good relationship, so it's nice that I'm pretty much just texting her in the game as I am in real life. But it's a really, really fun game. It's sort of the story in essence. You play this character. You can make this character female, male, non-binary. You name them, you kit them out in clothing. Yeah. And then you're going to stay with your cousin in, I guess you could say it's almost like a pseudo San Francisco. It seems to be like the hub where everybody goes in video games these days. And you're staying with your cousin. You've never been on a date in your life. So you go on this first date and then you're meeting other people along the way, or meeting other blades and swords along the way, and taking them on dates, seeing who you want to develop a relationship with. The more you work on the relationships with these weapons, that romance levels up. And with that leveling up, new abilities for the weapons that they are open up. So, you know, there's a character that's more of a dagger, so it's more like fast little chunk damage. Then there's someone that's like a scythe. Then there's like an energy weapon. And as you romance them more, abilities for that weapon archetype opens up as well. So they can start, you know, chaining lightning or doing critical damage or rolling, and it confuses the enemies and stuff. So each of those 7 weapons give you 7 different play styles and combat styles in these dungeons. So it's cool.
Yeah. That's piqued my interest. I might have to look at it. It's on Game Pass, so it's.
I think you'd have some fun with it. Like, the art style is super cute. The soundtrack in this game and the score is really, really cool. Like, it's a nice little, you know, mixture of indie, and whether it be folky and rocky and synth, and it sort of toes the line on a lot of musical genres. The voice acting's great. The character models are awesome. When you're seeing them transition from blade to person, like, it's so cool. And every character in this game is far too attractive. It's ridiculous. Like, but I've settled in. I'm romancing Valeria at the moment, so I've gone down a bit of a bisexual romance tree at the moment, just with how this character is. I'm like, yeah, she's my vibe. So my female character in this game is currently courting another female, but I've been on a few dates with a few other people. Some of them are fucking dicks, but like, some people might like that too, the way they act. So there's something for everybody in this game.
They're probably the better weapon, trying to endure bad relationships to reach the ultimate weapon.
That, you nailed it. One of the characters I really can't stand, but it's like my favorite weapon to use in the game. So I keep begrudgingly taking him into the dungeons and, you know, fighting my way through, because I know you do the mad damage and you got some cool abilities. But it's just fun. It come out of nowhere for me, this game. I think I heard of it a few years ago when it was kicking around on Kickstarter, but I just sort of had this sneaky stealth release this week where it's like, it's out now, and you know, maybe that's on me for not paying attention, but like, yeah, I'm going to play this. And I think I'm close to the end with sort of what I've done, and got all my weapons there, and you know, a lot of them are adequately leveled, and there's a crafting system in there, and it's just great. And I'm all for it, Miss Hart. Boyfriend Dungeon, also 8-bit approved.
Well, put that on the radar.
Yeah. It's just been like indie month for us. Yeah,
it's a good month.
Yeah.
The indies saving 2020 and 2021.
Oh yeah. All right, so enough about me. I've been talking for far too long, Miss Hart. What about you? What have you been playing this week?
I won't dwell on it too much. I just wanted to mention that I finally played a Katamari game.
Hey.
Katamari Reroll is on Game Pass, I'm gonna say. My husband downloaded it.
I think it is, yeah.
And he loved the game. He had previous experience with it. And he goes, I think you really should play this game. I think you'll love it. And so, okay, played it. And I'm obsessed with it. It is so ridiculous and wacky. I love it. The music's great. All the like little story in the background. Your king, your dad. He's wonderfully weird and odd. And everything about it's just absolutely wacky. And so... as I mentioned on Twitter to all the people that had recommended it to me in the past, they absolutely nailed it. It's the right kind of game for me.
It seems we're having some good successes with picking up some games that aren't in our usual wheelhouses the last 4 to 6 weeks, and now we're getting rewarded for it.
Yeah, who would have thought? Going out of our comfort zones.
I've never played a Katamari game either, so I don't really have too much weight to add to that discussion. But I know it's a very beloved franchise, and it's been around for a while.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, so maybe you should give it a roll.
Hey! And if you've played it already, you can give it a re-roll. So get amongst it. But yeah, it looks quirky. It looks like it's got some charm and some good personality as far as the character models in the world. It looks fun and vibrant.
Yes, it's very cute. Rolling
plenty
up,
of games out there, listeners. Plenty of games to play. Plenty of games included in Game Pass, as we've just alluded to. So get amongst it. Go watch Suicide Squad, then go home and play all these games. And then watch some episodes of Food Wars, and then message me about the comedic situations that these people get into after eating a really nice curry. Because I get so hungry watching this show. Like, I love food too much, and that's why this show hits me right in the feels as well. Because I'm like, fuck, I want that food, but I want that moment. I have those moments when I eat some foods, and it's the best. Anyway,
food looks too good in cartoons sometimes. It's just a curse.
Yeah, but I like one thing. Pivoting back to Food Wars for one hot second, I like that they actually talk through the preparation and how these ingredients work and how they break down in cooking. Like, there's actual real food science in there that they weave in, where they're like, oh, they've done this and heated that and added this enzyme because it breaks down this and it makes this real juicy. And so I'm like learning things at the same time. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, writing this down. Okay, add that oil does it. So it's like I'm educating myself at the same time as being entertained. It's great.
Learn a thing or two of cooking.
Exactly. And then, listeners, you guys can learn a thing or two by going over to ko-fi.com/we-are8bit. You can learn about our tiered subscription levels. You can learn about our singular purchases, so you can get yourselves an 8-bit Founders Coin. You can get immortalized in the 8-bit 2021 Family Portrait. All available there from the low price of $1 AUD per month. If you don't want to support us monetarily, that is more than fine. But if you can support us, do so over at Apple Podcasts. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe us, as well as all the other podcasts you'll listen to on the reg, because those ratings, those reviews, they cost no money. They take you very little time to do, but they mean the world to all us podcasters out there, because those ratings and reviews help keep the emotional lights on in our hearts. So please do that. Once you're done doing that, head on over to 8bit.net/win to sign up or go into the running for our August giveaway. You can win yourself an Audio-Technica G1WL wireless, sorry, not wired. We've gone the step up. We've gone the wireless gaming headset. We're talking gaming headset with detachable microphone, so you can obviously use it while you're gaming. You can use it while you may be doing your Zoom or your Teams calls, or you can take it on the streets if you're walking with your mask, doing your exercise during these COVID days. This headset will go with you everywhere. So 8bit.net/win. But Miss Hart, what do you say we jump into some news?
Let's do it.
This week's news headlines.
All right, we got a lot of quick hitters, a lot of little mini shots fired today, because we've gone well over time on our usual run sheet talking about what we've been doing, but we've just been doing so much. There's so many good things out there.
It's different for us. So next week we won't play anything. Actually, that's a lie, but still.
That's a lie. I'm going to be dating even more Blades next week. All right, so the first one, Miss Hart. This one, when I saw it doing the rounds last night, I immediately thought of yourself. So 11-Bit Studios has announced Frostpunk 2. Yes. The sequel to the Wintry City Builder game is officially happening. It's going to be set 30 years after an apocalyptic blizzard, and it's planning to advance upon the foundations built by the first game. Players will now need to establish an oil extraction industry to fuel their ever-demanding city, while simultaneously presiding over its citizens and making frequent choices between ruthless survival and human rights. I know you were a big advocate for Frostpunk. Now you got a second one on the way.
Yeah, actually, there was actually DLC that came out, and I still have yet to play that. So I probably should play that as well. But super excited for a second Frostpunk. It's a great game. It's very dark for like
very
a city.
Dark. And I don't know if you watched the announcement trailer.
I did.
Holy moly! It made me depressed.
It's very much like that tone, like the frozen, tied up person in the middle of the town square. With liar written across his chest in either oil or blood. I couldn't tell the difference, but
maybe it's both. It's bloody
maybe it's
oil.
a bit of bloody oil
and semen.
Ew. What's this? A Metallica cover? the game's the first game was really, really good. So really looking forward to a second one, especially with this now incorporation of like oil industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've got some time up your sleeve because they haven't announced any form of date. They haven't announced a year or a quarter. So you've got plenty of time to smash through that DLC.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks cool. I'm still yet to play Frostpunk, but I know it's on Xbox Game Pass now, so maybe I'll play the first one day.
On PC, I never get how people play city builders on console.
It can work. I played Jurassic World Evolution on console. I played it on Steam as well, but I pivoted to the Xbox. It works. It's pretty fine. But anyway, it would be certainly smoother and quicker on a mouse because you could
Definitely
flick around and what have you, but it can be done. The next one, Miss Hart, streamer Dr. Disrespect is starting up a new game studio. According to a job listing Beam shared on his Twitter account, the former Call of Duty level designer is looking for a co-founder to help start up, in quotes, new AA/AAA gaming studio that has a unique twist. According to Beam, whatever game this studio ends up making will be developed in partnership with a select list of mega influencers who will work closely with the studio to launch their dream game. So, what's the over-under that this game is going to be Public Toilet Simulator 2023, Miss Hart?
Dang.
Or Infidelity Maestro, or I don't know, Miss Hart. What do you think about this? Do you think this is going to succeed? Do you think that pitch where it's a AA/AAA studio that's going to have a unique twist, that it's going to be developed with a list of mega influencers? That part there sounds dumb to me. Just because you're an influencer doesn't mean you know how to make a game.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm wondering who he has access to. Like, Dr. Disrespect is predominantly known for playing first-person shooters, so straight off the bat, you assume it's going to be like a first-person shooter. Also, the idea of being able to lift a new game based on the, I guess, like the power level of top streamers or top content creators. I think that can be risky. Like, there has to be some redeeming quality about your game. You can't just depend on streamers to lift your game up and it being a shitty game. It just doesn't work like that. A lot of people are pretty smart in being able to identify when, someone's pretending to like a game, essentially. It's pretty interesting that he himself, as a streamer content creator, he's reached a point where he has kind of said, you know what, I can make a game. I'm curious how the hurdles he's going to face, especially that, he's pretty vocal about when a game is shit or a game is broken or, this and that, what is wrong with this game. So I'm wondering how he's going to feel when the shoe's on the other foot with something that he's making, and then everyone kind of yelling at him, telling him his game is broken or his game sucks or blah, 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 blah. So it's a very interesting angle for a streamer to be making their own game, and then trying to working on the backs off content creators to give it a successful launch. So it's interesting.
It's very interesting, and yeah, there'll be a whole lot of discourse thrown his way when this game does come out, good, bad, or otherwise. But I'm wondering, tinfoil hat on, obviously, COD shooter games, that's his forte. Are we gonna see an FPS or maybe a battle royale game where the only characters in the game are these influencers and streamers? So picture Lord of the Flies or something where they're all getting dropped onto an island, and it is your Dr. Disrespects and your ninjas and your whoever's, they're all individual characters and you assume the role of one of them, and they fight to see who survives and wins. Are they going to go down that route, you reckon? You think they're going to lean into the battle royale genre that still just refuses to die?
Maybe. I could see that being a thing. Actually, on his initial post, I believe someone actually said to him if he wanted to take up the IP for H1Z1, that person wanted to work with him. So I don't know if it was the person who currently holds ownership of H1Z1, but H1Z1 was the OG, right?
Yeah.
So I think he wants to do something new. I think he wants to make something himself. I like it. like Dr. Disrespect's aesthetic, while like I'm not really into watching him as a streamer, his overall aesthetic, putting that into a game could be pretty cool. Could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it'd certainly work. Like he's got an eye for marketing and things like that. That's for sure. He knows what works and what looks good, and yeah, we'll see. I guess in the coming months and years what this game ends up being, if anything. But
if it happens.
Yeah, something that definitely did happen this week though, Miss Hart. Sony's acquisition of anime streaming service Crunchyroll is now officially complete, with the final price set at $1.175 billion. This was up from their previous bid of $957 million. So they've picked that up. It's got 5 million current paying subscribers. I'm one of those. And they're over at 120 million users. So that now means that Sony has Crunchyroll, it's got Anime Lab, and it's got Funimation. So it's got the entire anime streaming industry locked up now. And I'm assuming, obviously, Anime Lab is now fallen under Funimation. So I'm wondering if they're going to do the same and put Crunchyroll and it's just all going to sit under Funimation, or if they're going to rebrand it as something else. But all your anime is now owned and controlled, in air quotes, by Sony, because they've got the three big fish.
What a wonderful like acquisition for Sony now to be the key holder on a lot of anime content. I don't use any of those services here, in the sense like the way that I actually watch anime is through Hulu. Actually, I've actually watched most of my anime through Hulu, maybe some Netflix.
Netflix has got a good portfolio.
Yeah.
Even so Amazon's got some.
Yeah, I haven't really needed to sign up to like Crunchyroll or anything like that. I know that when this news came out, I saw a bit of like mixed reactions from a lot of like anime fans. Some people are actually really upset with Sony owning it, and then other people were like, good, awesome. Like, I think maybe some people hope that they don't have to now have multiple subscriptions. They can just like have a one-off and then access everything.
That's what I hope for, because at the moment I've got an Anime Lab / Funimation subscription and a Crunchyroll subscription. So if I can have one throat to choke, so to speak, that would be great. And if, similar to what Microsoft do, where they bundle in certain services, maybe they might increase their PS Plus membership and it includes the as yet untitled anime package in there as well for an extra couple of bucks a month. So they can get pulled through for gamers and anime fans. So it's a smart play. Like, the fact that they've monopolized the anime streaming world for the Western market is pretty impressive. And they've got so many IP accessible now with these acquisitions that they can really just control the narrative however they like. But yeah, $1.175 billion US. That's
a lot of crunchy.
A lot of cash. Okay, the next bit of news, Miss Hart. Rockstar is reportedly putting the finishing touches to remasters of its open-world PlayStation 2 era classics, Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for release later this year. It's goddamn August, and these are going to be coming out later this year, apparently.
Yeah.
Rumors of possible remasters for the games first bubbled up over the summer as fans began wondering why Take-Two's lawyers had suddenly started issuing a raft of takedown notices for classic GTA mods. Speculation grew further following Take-Two's recent confirmation that it also had 3 unannounced new iterations of previously released titles in the works. So, Miss Hart, we've got some PS2 GTA royalty. Like Grand Theft Auto 3 really set this game in motion to become the juggernaut, where they moved away from the top-down view and went sort of the behind-the-back stylings, and obviously the graphics were very, very impressive for its day. Then Vice City and San Andreas followed on from that. These games are gonna sell. I've got no interest really in going back and playing these games, to be honest. I loved them at the time, but I don't have an itch that needs scratching to go back and play old GTA 3, 4, and 5. But this is just gonna print money.
Yeah, I guess I could see it being more of something that's maybe streamers will probably play, but I'm curious if they still have the licensing on the music that was attached to these games. Like, if they're remastering it, like, Are we getting the same songs? Because if I don't hear like all the like classic radio stations, especially from Vice City, one of my favorites, then it's going to be pretty disappointing. Maybe they'll get some, they won't get all cleared, kind of like what happened with Tony Hawk's. They had some songs that didn't clear for copyright.
Yeah, that'd be sad because it's a very underrated part of what makes these games great is the living audio based ecosystem. There's so many radio stations. There's different DJs on those radio stations, obviously different themes. You get listeners calling in. There's a whole thing that makes this game more living, and the music to these games is so paramount to the experience.
Exactly right. And then you always had your station that you always went to, and then even like me, like discovering new songs while playing these games, you'd be like, I really like that song, I'm gonna now put that on my playlist, because like the various styles that they kind of gave you access to was always eye-opening. But so I'm just curious. I'm curious if the music's going to be different. I'm curious what remastered means, like how polished these games are going to be, because Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, maybe even a little bit of San Andreas, like we still had some like choppy pixelated character designs and environments. So I don't necessarily want to revisit that. So
yeah, like if these are going to be knockdown rebuilds where it's going to look like current GTA, then holy guacamole, that would be cool. It'd be very pretty. Like if it looks like GTA 5 in a graphical sense, I'm like, okay, maybe I could have an arm twist to go back and dip a toe on one of these. But yeah, it's certainly an announcement that's not targeted for me. It feels like I'm happy for them, and I know this is just going to make a lot of money, just like GTA 5 continues to make a lot of money. But yeah, maybe this would then open up more of the GTA RP stuff, where it's going to potentially allow you to go back into these other worlds and start seeing little RP spin-offs that people are getting a bit horny for. So I don't know. But it's interesting because obviously there was announcements earlier this year where Take-Two Interactive, they plan to release 62 games by 2024. And I guess a way to make that happen is by doing things like this and remastering games that already exist in the world. And there's talk of 3 other as yet unannounced remasters that are doing the rounds in the Take-Two ecosystem that are getting worked on. And like we were sort of talking offline a little bit about this as far as what games or what franchises you think we might be working on. So Miss Hart, what's one that you think they could be hard at work on behind the scenes that we just haven't heard about yet?
The one I kind of hoped for was Max Payne.
Yeah. Yes. I'd be down for some Max Payne.
I could see that working. Yeah. I could see that being like an itch for some to scratch.
Yeah, and Max Payne, like it's like the 20th anniversary of Max Payne at the moment, so it makes sense for them to maybe go, happy birthday, Mr. Payne. Here's where it all began. Let's do it all again. Maybe there'll be a Mark Wahlberg crossover and he lends his likeness to the game, and the world will be mad at that. That's for sure if that happened. Rough. But so Max Payne could work. There's been long rumors about Bully coming back to the consoles and the platforms as well. They've talked about a Red Dead Redemption 2 enhanced version. Maybe going back and just doing a remaster of the original Red Dead could be an option. So there's a whole host of ways that they could play this, and they would all make money, especially like anything Red Dead would sell. I think Max Payne would move units. Bully, I think, there'd be some interest, but not to the same level as a Max Payne or a GTA or a Red Dead, but I think it could still generate some excitement. I'd be down for some Rockstar Presents Table Tennis. Bring that back as a remaster. I actually really enjoyed that. I played that game and finished that game. I was very horny for table tennis when that game came out, and I could not wait to play it when I got home from school.
Make that a t-shirt. Horny for table tennis.
That's it. It's a skill watching those people play table tennis. Like,
I can't.
The control is insane. Yeah, I'm terrible in real life.
It looks like it's easy and it's not. It really isn't.
It really is not. But the last little nugget we've got here for the news this week, I don't know what's going on. Blue Box Game Studios, obviously the in air quotes real studio that is behind Abandoned, which everyone says is just a successor or an offshoot of Silent Hill, and there's all these hypothesizes. No, all these. How am I going to word this? There's a lot of people that don't believe this is real, that they don't believe that this studio exists, and that this is sort of a bit of cloak and dagger stuff, and Hideo Kojima's potentially behind this, or Konami's behind this, or whatever. But anyway, what I'm alluding to here is this week there was going to be a technical demo that was going to be available on the PlayStation 5 store to play, and this playable teaser was up and it wouldn't work, and then there was an app that accompanied it that didn't work. And what's happened as far as updates is 2 days after this playable teaser failed to show up on the PlayStation 5 store, developer Blue Game Studios has issued a short explanation, and this was done through a series of tweets. Blue Box says it encountered multiple engine issues following a graphical glitch that was spotted in the demo last minute. The devs say that testing is almost complete and that we are 100% real and are working on a passionate game we believe in. It just like that line there, this "we are 100% real," I feel that there's some Rickroll going on here in the background, and this is going to be the ultimate meme or the ultimate gotcha moment. And I don't know, Miss Hart, I know that we've seen like footage and interviews and photos of the people behind Blue Box, but it just feels strange to me, Miss Hart. Are you with me? Are you tinfoil hatting with me and thinking that this is all a ruse?
I haven't been really invested in it as a lot of other people have been. I think it's great if it is a ruse and like it is just some like secret Kojima project, and they take the mask off and it really was Kojima in the end. But I'm indifferent. Like the little 5-second snippet that they showed of someone walking along floorboards, it looks pretty polished. And I'm just all for scary games. I hope if for whatever reason they are really a studio, they're just a bunch of people making a game, I hope that they don't get a lot of backlash and a lot of like sour people finding out that it wasn't the next Kojima thing. Yeah, I like it's this poor like title has had like just a lot of a big dark cloud on top of it, and if it's a Kojima thing, then I guess people will be happy and be happy to be like, told you so, even though like 20 million people have been telling us so. But then if it's not, I just hope the studio is still able to show their game and the game be good enough that people will genuinely enjoy it and not hassle them so much about not being Kojima.
That's what I worry about. Like, I get like completely unrelated games and genres, but I get a bit of a No Man's Sky Hello Games vibe going on here, where there's so much coverage and exposure to No Man's Sky when it was coming out, and Hello Games were like, they're a small upcoming indie studio, and this game was just getting blasted to everybody on every platform. There was a lot of anticipation and excitement and then weight on this game as far as pressure goes.
Yeah.
And I worry that that's what's going to happen with this Abandoned game, because not only, the little slices they give us, it looks good, and it looks like it could be scary as hell, and it looks like it could be, in air quotes, the successor to Silent Hill. But the fact that it's getting all this press about not only is this studio some shell company for Konami or Kojima, but then things like this, there's just a lot of press and a lot of unnecessary attention and eyeballs on this game and this studio, that I worry that it's just going to be too much pressure and it's going to collapse and it's going to get released and it's going to be poorly received like with No Man's Sky first dropped. So I hope that's not the case, and I hope it comes out and the game's great and Blue Box are who they say they are and they have some success, and all this is just swept under the rug and forgotten about. But it's just worrisome. Like when you're leading up to a demo, you'd think you'd have this playable teaser perfected and polished and ready to roll. Like you would have committed to this date with Sony many months ago that this is coming out. You think your whole life leading up to that moment would be playing that and then not realizing that there was some graphical glitches that you spotted in air quotes in the last minute. That seems a bit strange to me.
Yeah. It doesn't help that Kojima recently posted a picture where he got like a little doll of himself and the doll has like the mouth like zipped up.
Mm-hmm. See, like it's just there's like conspiracy theorist me thinks there could be more to it, but I just hope that this is all true. The game comes out, it's great. Blue Box get the praise deserved, and all this is forgotten, and everyone can be happy and move on together. But knowing the games industry, that's not going to be the case. There's going to be discourse and ruckus and people being dicks and whatever. But we hope, Miss Hart. We hope.
We hope.
Did we want to touch on as well this week the Indie World Nintendo Switch, like the Nintendo Indie World Showcase that dropped a couple of days ago? I, full disclosure, have not watched it, so I don't really have any skin in this game. But Miss Hart, if you wanted to highlight any of the Indie World announcements that Nintendo dropped the last couple of days, have at it.
Well, it was a really short showcase. I think less than roughly around 20 minutes. But they had a few quick bangers in there. A game called Bum Rush. Bull Rush? No, sorry. It's called Bum Rush Cyberpunk. It's a graffiti skating adventure. A lot of people are referring to it being very similar to Jet Set Radio, which I thought me and you are not very familiar with that title.
No,
so,
but people love Jet Set Radio.
People love it. They froth over it. So that looks like it could actually find an audience on release. I think it's coming out 2022. Some other titles. Shovel Knight is getting a new game, which kind of looks like a Tetris, like a little puzzle kind of game, where it incorporates a lot of the characters in the Shovel Knight game. And they have their own little special abilities, so you get to do single player versus of friends. Speaking of Tetris Effect is going to have Tetris Connected, which is going to incorporate multiplayer. I loved Tetris Effect. I'm not too sure if I would play it multiplayer. I've never really enjoyed Tetris in multiplayer because Tetris Effect is actually really relaxing. I actually really enjoy it. But now, they're going to bring through multiplayer on that. So. Axiom Verge 2. That one it looks really nice for the pixelated quality of the graphics. I saw a lot of people excited for it. I think that one has been out for a while, or so but either way it's going to be available on the Nintendo Switch August 11th.
Yeah, so it was cool to see that there was, I think, 7 games or so that were announced or highlighted that they're available right now, and Axiom Verge 2 was one of those.
Yeah.
I didn't play the first one, Metroidvania style. I think it came out in 2015, so it's been 6 or so years between drinks, but there's a lot of people oh yeah, Axiom Verge, I'm downloading it right now on PlayStation or the Nintendo or the Epic Games Store, and they're going to crack in on that one. So that was an exciting announcement. What did you think of this Eastward? Did that get you interested? The publisher behind Stardew Valley?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, because this one, although it's publisher for Stardew Valley, it's more of an adventure game. It has that more element to it. So it has the style of Stardew, but it didn't really grab me so much because it's kind of how I have been about linear adventures and sometimes. So this one maybe not so much. It looks nice, it looks very cute, but just not for me.
Yeah, and other ones, obviously Necro Barista Final Pour was available. Obviously Boyfriend Dungeon made its way there. Garden Story, Islanders, Slime Rancher, and Curious Expedition 2, all available to buy and play on your Nintendo Switch right now.
But yeah,
but these little mini showcases, I love them. Even though I missed this one, I think that's just a great way to keep people informed and entertained and updated on what's coming out or what does drop, then and there. It's awesome.
Yeah. I like these little snippets. It's always a good way to kind of show what's come, what's out now, and what is not necessarily new, but new to the device. So it's pretty good.
Very, very good. And something that also is very, very good.
Tweet of the week.
And this tweet comes via way of our mutual man crush at Idris Elba on the Twitters. And the tweet simply read, knock, knock. And it was a graphic of Knuckles' hand. We're talking Knuckles from the Sonic universe. So Idris Elba is going to be lending his voice talents to everyone's favorite video game echidna, Knuckles, for Sonic Movie 2. So I'm excited for this, Miss Hardy. You in?
Yeah, like we've established that he is like the Midas touch, so it will work. We did mention how we were impressed that they didn't use an Australian voice, but I am happy that they didn't use an Australian voice because I could just imagine like how Australian they would want it to be. So no, I think this is a great pick. I wouldn't have guessed it, but it's still a great pick.
He is just everywhere these days, Idris Elba.
So he should be.
He is one of the busiest people in Hollywood, and I love it. And he's in everything. And if he doesn't end up getting cast as James Bond for the next iterations, I don't know what to tell you. I think it's a big missed opportunity.
Really is.
But yeah, he's going to be lending his vocal talents to to Knuckles in the upcoming second entry into the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, and I'm all for it. He's going to be leaning into that English accent very heavily, I think. And
you reckon? You reckon he's going to be?
I think so.
I was curious if it's going to be British or if it's going to be American. But I guess, yeah, they'll do British to give him that kind of, I guess, like out of country charm.
Yeah,
being an echidna.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this. Idris Elba does everything. We talk about Donald Glover being a triple or quadruple threat. Like Idris Elba is right up there too. The man even DJs. I love that he's a DJ. Like it's so ridiculous, but it is also so great. But we'll no doubt get a trailer in the coming months, or whether it be next year or the back end of this year. We'll see what Sonic 2 is going to be all about, and we'll be hearing Idris Elba as Knuckles in there with Sonic and Dr. Robotnik and co. and see another character you like in there that I don't know if it actually has been officially confirmed outside of the end credits stinger.
Yeah, no, I already got told about it, even though I haven't seen the Sonic movie.
You still haven't seen it?
No. It just hasn't come up as something to watch, I don't know. Can't explain it.
I've been busy with SVU.
Always. That and MasterChef.
All right, if you want to... I'm going to break down the current rotation as far as viewing and playing. This is the best place to do it.
New releases and events.
Obviously, we're talking about things that are coming out between Monday, the 16th of August, through to Sunday, the 22nd of August. And obviously, THG 253 out right now in your ear holes. As far as other podcast stuff, we've got Comedy Rewind, the Dodgeball episode that is dropping on Thursday, the 19th of August. Also on Thursday, the 19th, 12 minutes, finally dropping on Xbox and PC.
So many years. I think I saw somewhere it was like 5 years since its initial announcement, or like it had been mentioned on Kinda Funny on their little indie thing. So it's been some time, and I'm super excited. I'm nervous, because this is like one that's really been on my radar for such a long time. I just hope it's good. And everyone should support it and give it a look.
Hell yeah. So many great little ditties coming out. As far as the larger games that are making their way to your hands this week, we get the Marvel's The Avengers War for Wakanda expansion dropping on the 17th. That is on all platforms. We also get Ghost of Tsushima's Director's Cut making its way to the PlayStation 4, and then there's a PlayStation 5 version as well. You can pay the difference. If you already own Ghost of Tsushima on PlayStation 4, you can pay, there's like a fee to get to the Director's Cut for the PS4 version, or you can pay, a little higher again to get the PS5 version of the game too. Such a stunning game. One of the best games of 2020. So if you haven't played it, now is the perfect time to give that a go. If you're looking for something different, also on Friday the 20th, Madden NFL 22 drops. So the annual gridiron sporting game extravaganza that EA pump out every year. NFL 22. Madden NFL 22 dropping on Friday the 20th. Outside of that, a couple other games that are coming out this week. Road 96, Greek Memories of Azure, Humankind, Recompile, Rims Racing, The Veil, Shadow of the Crown, and Arietta of Spirits dropping as well. And one that I just wanted to highlight just to keep on your radar, the week after, Aliens Fireteam Elite is coming out on August the 24th.
That snuck up, didn't it?
That did sneak up. So, hopefully we'll be able to do a bit of coverage on that one in the coming weeks as well and see if we avoid it being game over, man, game over, because we are killing all the Xenos, not being killed by the Xenos. So, plenty of games to, kill time this week in between watching episodes of Food Wars and watching Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Oh, I've been watching UFC. Totally forgot to mention that.
What's up?
Oh, I'm like, oh, wait. One thing I was going to say is I've been watching UFC. Someone sassed us in our 8-bit Discord about the sports section. I'm like, I was meant to kind of say, like, actually, I have been watching sports. There's Ultimate Fighter. I don't know if people are into that, but
I do like the Ultimate Fighter. I haven't watched it in a good long while, but the early seasons of that way back when were really, really great to see. They were really good. And UFC is awesome. Combat sports is awesome to watch. It's not for everybody because there is a lot of violence on display, a lot of blood, a lot of cuts, a lot of leg breaks. Ooh, those leg breaks are the ones that get me the worst. Yeah.
Was it Silva who his like whole foot like broke, like his ankle broke, and then you watched his foot just like wrap? Sorry, I better not go into detail.
A big string of spaghetti. Yeah, Anderson Silva copped it. Obviously, Conor McGregor copped that about a month or so ago now in his fight.
Yeah, that's recent, wasn't
it? They're the ones, like, I can watch people's ears and heads get cut and blood and big gaping wounds, but when you see that leg bend and then the person that's leg has bent and they don't know it yet, and then they go to step on it and put pressure, and then it just that's the ones that get me. But we'll be more active in the sports piece then. You want to talk NFL, you want to talk NBA, you want to talk NRL, NHL. That's my wheelhouse. And I got a lot of opinions on these things, especially the most recent NBA draft. But you can hear more about that on Hoop Dreams, the NBA podcast that we do every couple of weeks or so. We're on a little bit of a mid-season break now because it is the off season, but it'll be back soon. Mm-hmm. But Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of THG 253. Anything else you want to say before we close the studio down for another week?
No, I don't think I've got everything covered. I need to watch a bunch of movies, apparently.
You really do. And play a bunch of games. You need to go get in the dungeon with your boyfriend or girlfriend or non-binary sword friends.
I'll have to post on the socials if I play it who my partner of choice is.
Yeah. I've got an idea on which way you might go, but I'm not going to say anything until you settle into the game and give some feedback. But I have a feeling which way you might lean.
Okay, we'll see. See if you know me.
Yeah. Anyone else that is playing it too, hit us up on them socials at We Are 8-Bit, at Brendan 8-Bit, or at Miss Ellie Hart, and let us know who you are courting in the dungeon. Who is your love interest blade of choice? Tell us who you're a fan of or you're not a fan of, because I'd love to know who you got hard eyes for in this adorable little ditty that is available now. So get your hands on that if you can. But yeah, Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of THG 253. I guess we can get on out of here. But until next time, 8-Bit Nation, much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.
Can I just say how gross Courtney in the Dunge sounds?
The dunge. I don't get it.
Dunge.
I love it. I love a bit of dunge action. I wish they played grunge in the dunge. There's no grunge music playing in the dunge.
Shame.
A lot of indie jobs though.